For more dialogue on population data, just go to my playlist entitled Populations, where I share different content about population data. And I hope you enjoy this specific dialogue. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, and I hope all is well for you today. And in this population-based series, we will be discussing anything from articles to news reports, potential conspiracy theories, and assessing population data. So if that's something you're interested in, hopefully you will enjoy this dialogue. And in this episode, we will be talking about population data. In this episode, we will be talking about the populations of Eritrea and Trinidad and Tobago. Eritrea is located in Eastern Africa. Trinidad and Tobago is located in the Caribbean. Eritrea is rich in natural resources such as gold, potash, zinc, copper, salt, fish, limestone, gypsum, iron ore. Eritrea is believed to have massive reserves of oil and gas, but the government is not keen on exploiting them. The resources remain largely untapped due to the 3-decade war for independence with Ethiopia. Forests. Trinidad and Tobago is rich in natural resources such as petroleum, natural gas, asphalt, iron and steel, rice, cocoa, coffee, vegetables, sugar, forests, wildlife. According to Ethnologue, Eritrea contains 10 living indigenous languages and 5 non-indigenous languages. Trinidad and Tobago contains 3 living indigenous languages and 4 non-indigenous languages. According to International Work Group for Indigenous Affairs, there are 9 officially recognized ethnic groups in Eritrea. Trinidad and Tobago is 34.2% black, which is the second largest ethnic group in the country. 52.3% of Eritrean women representing the ages 15 through 49 are currently married. 48.6% of Trinidadian and Tobagonian women representing the ages 15 through 49 are currently married. 35.7% of people in Eritrea are 0 to 14 years old. 60.3% 15 through 64 years old. 4% 65 years and over. The majority of people in Eritrea are between the ages 15 through 64 years old. 18.7% of people in Trinidad and Tobago are 0 to 14 years old. 67.2% 15 through 64 years old. 14.1% 65 years and over. The majority of people in Trinidad and Tobago are between the ages 15 through 64 years old. The median age of Eritrea is 21.3 years old. The median age of Trinidad and Tobago is 38.5 years old. Eritrea's growth rate is 1.8%. Trinidad and Tobago's growth rate is 0.4%. Eritrea ranks 132. Trinidad and Tobago ranks 155. There is a net gain of 1 person every 7 minutes in Eritrea. There is a net gain of 1 person every 3 hours in Trinidad and Tobago. The gross reproduction rate of Eritrea is at 1.69, which means that the next generation of daughters in Eritrea will replace the former generation of women in Eritrea. The gross reproduction rate of Trinidad and Tobago is less than 1, which means that the next generation of daughters in Trinidad and Tobago will be less numerous than the generation of women before them. The total fertility rate of Eritrea is at 3.6, which means that the population is sustainable. The total fertility rate of Trinidad and Tobago is at 1.5, which means that the population will likely face decline. There is 1 birth every 5.1 minutes in Eritrea. There is 1 birth every 33.5 minutes in Trinidad and Tobago. There are 283 births every day in Eritrea. There are 43 births every day in Trinidad and Tobago. Now let us look at the 2025 current populations of Eritrea, Trinidad and Tobago, as per World Population Review. Eritrea's population is at 3,605,558. Trinidad and Tobago's population is at 1,511,104. World Population Review has changed up its projection dates. So rather than the typical 20, 30, 40, and 50 numbers, it is now by 1. So it will likely be, unless they change it to the other format, like this for future episodes: 2031, 2041, and 2051. Let's look at the population forecast for the years 2031, 2041, 2051. By 2031, Eritrea is set to rise to 4,085,050. By 2041, Eritrea is set to rise to 4,954,490. By 2051, Eritrea is set to rise to 5,775,740. By 2031, Trinidad and Tobago is set to decrease to 1,510,430. By 2041, Trinidad and Tobago is set to decrease to 1,466,890. By 2051, Trinidad and Tobago is set to decrease to 1,391,200. Well, that is all we have for today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed this discussion, where we looked at the populations of Eritrea and Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for more.